Welcome back to another episode of Food for Life, where the food isn't just for the belly. I'm Jennifer Shepler. Nice to have you back. Just to remind you, I'm not a professional in any way. I'm just a professional in my life, hoping to share some perspective in your life so that you can have a little bit more of a smooth ride, as you would call it. So please rest assured that I'm not good on quotes, so I will be reading quotes off or definitions because I just can't seem to remember those things. And if you have a comment, please comment below. Maybe you have a topic that you would like to listen to, all that. If I've misinterpreted something, please feel free to share. And here on this video, we practice forgiveness and grace. So back to the show, watch out for the boogeyman, basically fear. Have you ever been raised around the boogeyman, or maybe some of those nursery rhymes like Rockabye, or no, not Rockabye Baby? Yeah, in a cradle and let it fall, tumble to the ground. I mean, like horrid things that we were taught when we were younger that created fear. And fear is not something that we should have to deal with, but it's here on the earth. You know, you've got social media who lies, news footage that over exaggerates. Then you've got the government who is doesn't know what to say to people. Like, for instance, I'm saying like the COVID thing that happened. Oh, wear your masks. Oh, well, over the summer you don't have to, but in the fall you have to. So people just kind of lost trust. And then we've got, violence where people threaten you, and relationships who lie and threaten and have violence against you. And, they use fear to continue their craft because they know that it works. And I just want to remind you that fear comes from the devil, and that is something that God does not want us to have to deal with. So I'm letting you know there is hope for fear. So I'm going to give you a definition of what the fear is. And of course, people know it, but I'm just going to say it again just for the sake of it. So, fear means an unpleasant emotion caused by belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or a threat. And so that is really where we are at in this world. We have so many different resources that show fear. And I'm here to remind you that God does not want us to fear because He is with us. And so that has been apparent in many times in my life. When I left my boyfriend, I was so scared that he was going to do something to me. And so the only person that I had in my life was God. So I reached to God and said, "Help me out." And He got me out. And then I had a husband who wanted to shoot me. I said, "God, I'm scared. I need help." He helped me out. So over the course of all these different situations, I've learned that I don't need to be in fear. And so I remember a family member was in a lot of fear when COVID hit, and that person just couldn't understand why I was so calm. Everyone's running to get toilet paper, buying all the medications they could. And now other people who weren't as fearful couldn't buy toilet paper, and they couldn't buy allergy meds because everyone in the world is practically in fear. And so they bought out the store. And now they're sitting with umpteen containers of stuff that they didn't really need, all due to fear. And so I'm here again to remind you that God says no fear. Don't fear. There's no need to, because it's a devil thing, and that is what people use to inflict what they want to towards you, and that's how they use fear to get what they want. And so I've chosen a Bible verse, 41:13. It says, "For I, the Lord your God, hold your right hand. It is I who say to you, fear not. I am the one who helps you." So I mean, yes. Do you fear somebody who's walking down the street and they're following you? Absolutely. But if you ask God to help you, He will tell you, hey, go down the next road, avoid that person, or do this or do that. And so that's basically how I received the faith that I've gotten in my life. And I've had people tell me I don't have faith. And I chuckle at that because I'm like, yes, I do. I just may express it in a different way. But I mean, over the years, I have gained faith over not having fear. And so when the COVID did happen and everyone was running rampant, it didn't bother me. And I had so many people say, well, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to you? Like, and it's like, well, I can't really do much. So why put the fear? Why put the energy towards that fear? Because I've got God with me and there's just no need to fear. And so a lot of people really don't understand that. And so, I mean, my life is an example of that, being told that, you know, with the threats and everything, I just know better. I know better now that like you can't do anything to me because God's with me. Now that doesn't mean that you can't have any fear because fear is something that protects us, but we're talking about some big things in our lives that could totally be reversed from fear to, I guess, peace in your heart, knowing that God is with you and He wants what's best for you. And it's the prophecy that He wants you to have a good long life. So people that are using fear to use that against you, that's a devil thing. And so if you can find Jesus in your life and get past the fear, you will then know what it's like to live in peace. And, there people that should be in fear are maybe those that are in the sex trafficking, who refuse to change their ways, even though they know that it's wrong. That would be something I would want to fear because then I know that God's watching and I really don't want to go to hell. And so I have a fear of that. So, in some sense, you do read in the Bible, it says, fear thy Lord. They're not saying, oh, I'm afraid of God. What they're saying is, God's watching, so watch yourself. Live according to the good ways, and you're saved. But if you're living towards the bad ways, sex trafficking, violence, murder, all of that, then that's something you should be fearful of. So there's some fear that, to have God in our life, we should be fearful that we are living our lives according to what His will is so that we can end up in heaven. And then you got the fear that the world provides for you that uses that against you so that you're fearful. And so that's a reminder for you that God says not to fear. And so that's a nutshell of fear. And God has a plan for that. So I trust that you will not be fearful of what's happening in your life. Reach to God, ask Him for His ways, for His will for you, and for His perspective, and He will guide you to the right way. And that way you won't be fearful. Living in life without fear truly is a blessing. And so I'm going to do a motivational moment. This was a quick, short, simple video because, most of us know about the fear thing. And I just wanted to just send that to you, that message that there's nothing to be fearful of. But I do have a side note, though. And I often wonder that if people can believe in Bigfoot and aliens, why can't people believe in God? And The other question I ponder often is, would it be better to believe in God and end up in heaven than to fear him and end up in hell? So those are something that you may want to think about. I think it'd be better in your best. I think it would be in your best interest to just, for the sake of your salvation, to just believe and hope for the best than to disbelieve and get the worst. Okay, so the motivational I pulled out is Psalm 37 to 27 to 28. Turn from evil and do good, and you will live in the land forever. For the Lord loves justice, and he will never abandon the godly. So that's pretty much, self-explanatory. From evil to good, just fear the Lord. So if you're going out and murdering somebody, I'd be fearing the Lord, because he's going to be the ultimate justice provider, not what we do today. We can't even trust our own justice system, but we can trust God and what his actions are going to be. And so for now, only fear on what you do towards others. And if you do good towards others and you have a loving heart, then there's nothing to fear. And God will see you through any difficulty that is in your life. Don't fear the difficulty. Thanks again for joining me on this episode of Fear, and click like and comment below if you have another idea for a show, or click subscribe so that you can get a notification on our next topic. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you next time.